Hey, everybody out there in Cryptid Land. Me and my buddy Dirty over there are going to have a great interview for you tonight. We're going to talk to George Lunsford, and we're going to be talking about UFOs, ghosts, fairies, Dogman, and of course, my favorite, Bigfoot. So join us tonight on
the Cryptid Quest Podcast.
Tonight we're talking to George Lunsford, and from what I understand is you've got some pretty cool stuff to talk about. Is there any order you want to talk about it in?
Whatever you want to talk about, we'll talk about.
Okay. Well, I like saving Bigfoot for last. So
Okay.
How about we start off, you say you had UFO encounters, ghosts, and so I think I want to start off with the ghosts. So tell me some of your ghost encounters, if you would. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, it all started back when I was in my late teens. I was pretty close to my great grandmother. She was a sweetheart of a lady. She's like 4 foot something, 4 foot nothing tall, and she passed away. And I was in my room the night that she passed away and had no idea that she had passed away. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, felt kind of something strange. So I woke up and she was sitting in my bed. And it wasn't scary or nothing. I just, kind of said, hey. She said, I just want to come by and tell you I love you and bye. And I'm thinking, this is a dream the whole time. So I said, okay, well, I love you too. And she said, well, just go on back to sleep. I went back to sleep, woke up the next day and thinking, wow, that was a strange dream. And, but I could smell her perfume. And I was like, well, that's weird. And then we found out she had passed away.
Oh, wow. Wow. And she just came by to say goodbye.
Yeah. And
it happened around 3 a.m. That's when a lot of that stuff, they say something about the 3 a.m. hour when that stuff happens, and you could smell her perfume and everything.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so cool. I mean, not cool that your poor grandma passed away, but
she was up in age, so
okay. All right. Well, she's in a better place anyway.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
And I died for a short period of time one time in the hospital.
Oh wow!
And after that, I for about probably 15, 20 years, I could see spirits. I could talk to them. They would pop up in my car. All kinds of weird stuff was going on. It's faded a lot since then. It's not as frequent as it used to be.
So do you remember anything from like when you were gone?
Oh yeah.
I'm intrigued. So what do you remember when you passed on?
Okay. Well, I don't like going to the doctor.
Yeah.
I'm real hard-headed about that. And I got real bad sick. I couldn't breathe real good, and I was having a real hard time. I was in my 20s. And finally, they forced me to go to the doctor. By the time they took me to the hospital, I was lethargic. I had over 104 fever. I was pale as I could be, almost white. And I was just a big limp rag when the time they got me to the hospital. And they took me in. They rushed me. Oh, ER went crazy. They shot me through there, started pumping IVs in me, all this other stuff. And I remember going to the ER, but I don't remember what happened in between there and when this all happened. I know they put me in a room, and that night, or one night, I don't remember exactly what night, but I think it was that same night, I woke up and there's a woman sitting beside my bed. She was an older woman and I could see through her. And I thought, well, this is kind of odd, but she was a real nice lady. We was talking and she said, it's okay. It's okay. And I didn't get excited. It was the most calm feeling I've ever had in my life. So I sat up in the bed talking to her, and I jumped down, looked back, my body was still in the bed.
Wow.
I thought, well, that's different. And she was telling me to calm down, everything was okay, and we were talking. And in the corner of the room, there was a big figure, a male, what looked like angel. He had wings and everything, like it's folded up. And the only thing I really remember him, it was kind of a grayish color, but he had the bluest eyes you ever seen in your life. I still see his eyes and I close my eyes. It was just amazing. The color was just incredible. And all of a sudden, people started walking through the walls of my room. And they would all come up to me and they was talking to me and they'd shake my hand and introduced herself. And the angel raised his hand up, and when he did, this little dot of light popped up. And when he dropped his hand, the whole wall just turned into a light. But it wasn't bright like it was hurting your eyes or anything. It was just a light there. There was no real explanation for what the light was. Well, the people were telling me bye, and they'd walk into the light and disappear. I didn't know what happened to them. And the ladies told me, it's okay. Everything's going to be fine. Well, I started towards the light because it was only me and her left. So I started towards it. She grabbed me and she said, no, 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 no. No, you need to lay back down. So I went back over to bed. I sat down and laid back down. And I looked at her and she waved at me. She walked in, all of a sudden everything was gone. The angel was gone. The light was gone. There was nobody else there. It was just me. So I laid back down, and all of a sudden I started hearing all these alarms going off, people running in my room and all this other stuff. And then one of the nurses had come over and she was leaning over me. And I said, "What are you doing?" And so she just freaked out.
Yeah.
She went, "What?" And she jumped back, and all the rest of them jumped back. And I said, "What are y'all doing?" And they said, "What happened?" I said, "I don't know. You tell me. I'm just been laying here." And well, they all left except for the head nurse, and me and her was talking. And I said, "I got to ask you a question." And I asked her I asked her who the lady was, and she said, "What lady?" I told her her name. Son, she went pale. You could just watch all the color leave her face. She said, "That woman died right before you got here."
Right before you got there?
Yeah. The day before I checked, the day before they put me in that room, she had died in it.
Oh my
And all
goodness.
the other people I named had died in the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
I named 6 other people, and I described every one of them and everything.
Oh my gosh.
So that kind of freaked them out a little bit.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so.
And after that, I could be riding down the road if I drove by where there was a serious car accident or something. They'd pop them in my car. And they'd ask me questions. And I'd have to tell them, yeah, you passed away and it's okay. You can go on. Everything's going to be fine. I'm sure your family's okay. And then they'd just leave and they wouldn't be there anymore.
So when you saw them, were they solid or were they like what you saw before?
They were translucent. You could see all the way through them.
Okay.
But you could feel them looking at you before you ever turned and actually seen them.
Really?
You get that feeling. You turn around out there, they're sitting. It would jar me a few times, but most of the time it was like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah. I guess kind of like a haunted house. You get used to it.
Yeah, I mean, you get used to everything. So.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool. I mean, we had a lot of dealings with ghosts for a while. I had a ghost at the house. I used to have a trailer. It was in a trailer park. And there was a family. I'd researched after things started happening. Research found out that the exact spot my trailer was sitting, there was a family died there of tuberculosis.
Oh man!
There's a mother, a father, a kid, and a young lady. She was probably 16, 17 years old, and the little boy was like 10. But now, I never seen the mom and dad. The little boy would stick his face in the window. When you turn, all you could hear is laughing, and he'd disappear. But the woman, the girl, I should say, I call her Bertha. She stayed around my house all the time. And one night, my daughter was crying. She was just a baby back then. She was crying, and I walked in there, and you could hear, shh, 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 and you see somebody patting the blanket. Huh? And it wasn't nobody there. The blanket was just moving, and my daughter she'd snuggle up and go right back to sleep.
Oh man!
So I said, "Thank you, Bertha," and I turn around, and walk back to bed.
That's cool. In-house babysitter.
Oh, she was great. I dated this girl after my first marriage broke up. I was dating a girl, and she was over there, and I was at work, and she calls me up. She is freaking out. I was like, "What is wrong with you?" She said, "Your house is weird. I'm getting out of here." I said, "Wow, what's going on?" And she flipped it up where I could see what was going on, and the change, I left a bunch of pennies, like 10, 15 pennies on the table. And they were dropping, landing on their edge, going across the floor, stopping, turning, and going over and laying down heads up.
Oh,
All of them was in a complete circle.
wow.
Needless to say, she didn't stay long.
I was going to say,
Apparently, Bertha didn't like her. So,
oh, you think Bertha was just trying to,
oh yeah, she run her off.
yeah, well,
But me and my wife, we were sitting here one night. This is in my house I'm living in now, man. And me and Susan was sitting here, and our Ring camera goes off. It's right there by the door. We have a pretty good sized porch, and it goes off. We flip it on, and there's a full body spectral comes. There's look like a cloud that looked like a human shape, but there's a cloud looking. It come outside the house, over right in front of the camera, stopped, and it looked like what would have been its head, turned and looked at the camera, and it turned back and walked straight off the porch, and we ain't seen it since.
oh, that'd been a little spooky.
Oh, it was a trip. I tried my best to save it, and we couldn't save. That was one of the only recordings we couldn't save.
That's so weird. It seems like things like that. I don't know. Do you think there's a reason why that particular thing didn't save? Do you think, maybe it had something? Did it have anything to do with it? Do you think?
I don't know. I mean, it may have pulled the energy out when it come out.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was pretty wild. My wife's like,
man, I don't know. If I see something that turns its head all the way around, I might be packing my bags. I'm just saying.
"Oh no, it was cool. It never come back. It went off the porch, just like it was leaving. It just walked off the porch and away it went, floating through the air. It went down out the yard.
Oh wow!
So it was pretty cool.
So do you say it's lessened, over the years?
Yeah, I don't get nothing like I used to. I used to be able to see a lot more stuff and all that, but
Do you miss
nowadays
it?
I can feel things, but that's about it.
Do you miss it?
Well, it's kind of been replaced by all the other stuff I've been
Oh,
getting myself into.
I like other stuff.
So, and I had one. I tell this story every time, but I've got to tell it. When I come home, I go between two graveyards, and then there's a bridge where the railroad trestle is. Well, there's a grave as you're heading towards the bridge. There's a grave off to the right hand side, down at the bottom, down towards the railroad trestle. And apparently, it was an older black gentleman had passed away, and that's where they buried him at. Well, every time I would come through, I would hear laughing, and I'd look down, and he'd flip me off. It was like, you hear him laughing all the way across the bridge, and it just kind of fade away as I turned. But I went down one day. I had to find out who this person was. So I went down there, and I got the name, and I researched the name out and talked to some of the church parishioners, and found out this guy was a jokester. He loved to aggravate people and play games and just stuff like that. So he quit flipping me off, but you could still hear him laughing.
Yeah.
He would dance. He'd bounce around and dance in there. He'd do all kinds of stuff, trying to get your attention as you drove by.
So he'd do it by his grave?
Yeah.
Huh. Wow.
It was the oddest thing, but it used to happen all the time. It hadn't happened in years now. So I guess he got tired of me.
So is that the only one you saw in that grave, that particular? Was it a graveyard or just a grave?
I've seen a bunch of them over there.
Oh, okay.
We have graveyards on both sides. They're separate graveyards, but I've seen them on both sides. I've heard people crying. I've heard
okay.
people talking and all kinds of stuff.
He just stuck out in your head.
He just stuck out because, like I said, you'd hear him laughing. He was the happiest person in the world when you drove by. But he'd flip you off just for the fun of it.
That's so hilarious.
He was a trip, boy. I liked him.
That's probably what my producer Dirty's going to do when he dies. Flip everybody off. So, now you say there's other stuff. I mean, unless you've got another ghost tale you would like to.
I've got tons of ghosts and everything, so it don't matter. We'll go wherever you want to go.
All right. So, I'm another thing. I mean, I'm intrigued with a lot of stuff, but the aliens. You say UFOs or aliens or
Just UFOs. I haven't seen the aliens yet
Okay.
that I know of.
all right.
We've actually had 2 live encounters, and then my wife stepped out during the aurora borealis, and she actually caught some on film. She took pictures and caught them.
Oh wow.
She caught saucers. She caught all kinds of weird stuff going on. But first time I seen one was I was in the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
We was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean crossing over. I was on watch. I was on aft lookout, and I get a call on my sound powered phones. And the forward lookout says, "What is over on the port side?" So I don't know. I got the big eye, my binoculars out and looking, and there's a light, a circle of lights. But I'm thinking, I first thing that came to my mind was the con tower of a submarine, because the lights go across the side, the fins like this. So I'm looking at it. I got the notice, and it's not touching the water. I thought, well, that ain't right. It's about 8 miles away from the ship. And we were talking back and forth, and finally everybody else got bored, and I was still watching it because it was moving like this. But it was keeping pace with the ship. It was moving it back and forth as it was going, like it was searching for something.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched it for about 5 minutes. And all of a sudden that thing got real bright, and it went straight up in the air.
Wow.
And everybody's like, "What? It was that?" And I said, "Remember that light was watching?" They said, "Yeah." I said, "That was that light." And they said, "You didn't see nothing." I said, "Okay." Back then times, you didn't talk about UFOs and stuff back in those days. That was in the early 80s. So
yeah. That's definitely a no-no. Yeah, definitely a no-no back then.
And then the second one we actually got laid eyes on, me and my wife are coming back from Chicago. And we're at 30, just announced. We're reaching 30,000 feet, our cruising altitude, and everybody get comfortable and all this stuff. And my wife elbows me. She's pow, pow. I was like, "Ow, what?" She goes, "What is that?" I look out the window, and out from the plane, there's a silver cigar-looking tube. It was just silver. I mean, it was nothing distinguishing about it. It was just a silver tube. Had no wings, had no tail fins, had no sign of propulsion, nothing. And we're watching it, and it's just cruising along with us. And my wife leans over to get the cell phone off the ground, and apparently it was that time for that thing to leave, because then it was gone.
Oh.
I mean, it like we were going backwards. It's just gone.
Wow.
She goes, "Where'd it go?" I said,
Go ahead.
No. It was really cool.
I was going to say, I just did an interview where a guy described pretty much almost the exact same thing. Same shape, same color. Yeah, same color and same kind of situation.
That's cool.
So yeah. Wow. So is that the
I
only?
get that picture of my wife's saucer. If I can, I'll put it up there so you see it.
Okay.
She got some great shots, and she didn't mean to. She was taking pictures of the colors of the sky. Because the aurora borealis actually reached down here to North Carolina.
Oh yeah. I remember. Yeah, my wife was trying to get me up to go look at it, and I was like, "No, I'm in bed." Maybe I'd have got to see something better if I'd have got up and checked it out.
Well, she got some really cool things on there. If I can find it, I am terrible at finding pictures when I need to.
I know. I got so many on my phone. I just flipped through it, and I'm like, I don't even remember when I took that picture.
Well, she set our phones up to where every picture she takes goes on my phone.
Oh, wow.
Every picture I take goes on her phone.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
There's pictures I have no idea where they're from. So,
so is that
my wife loves taking pictures.
Yeah. So does mine. So is that the only? Well, I guess that's 3 different times.
I can't find them. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So is that the only 3 times you've ran into unidentified? Let me say it right. Unidentified flying, or actually they call it aerial phenomenon now. UAPs. Yeah. So
Or no,
UAP, I think.
unidentified airfront. Yeah,
Yeah,
UAP.
I know why they always got to change everything.
Confuse us.
Yeah, 100%. So
Yeah, that's the only time I can definitely say that they were UFOs. I mean, I've
okay.
seen lots of stuff like that, but
Yeah, yeah.
you know, I'm not talented enough to go, yeah, that's a UFO from Mars or anything like that. So I'm just going to say those 3 times because I've seen it just as clear as day and everything.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I think I've seen one, and it was middle of the day, and it's kind of messes with your mind a little bit, because it's like I'm not supposed to be seeing this, but I'm seeing it, you know, and in the middle of the day is, because at nighttime it's usually lights and stuff, and you can almost attribute that to a lot of things.
Yeah.
But in the daytime, man, that's a whole
different story.
Whole different story. So before we jump into the Bigfoot tales, give me a couple more. I'm saving it.
That's cool. That's no problem.
Give me some more of your favorite ghost tales, because apparently you got a lot of them.
I got a lot of everything. Bad things follow me for some reason. I don't know why, but
Nothing wrong with that.
I went to a buddy of mine's house, and he's living he rented a house that was over 100 years old. And he said, I got to show you something really weird. He said, now I'm gonna warn you, you're gonna feel really strange you go down here, but I'm gonna show you something. I said, okay. And we went down to the basement, and it was an old, I don't know what they did in there, but they had back in the bedrock in the basement, there were cages with shackles inside that went to a ring that was drove into the
like cages, like a prison cell, or small?
Yes, but they were small.
Oh, okay.
Like a person could fit in there easily.
Okay.
And it was strange. And we were standing there, and he had about 150, 160 pound Rottweiler. And we were sitting there talking. All of a sudden, the Rottweiler started whining and backing up as far as it could get between us. I was like, "What is wrong with your dog?" He said, "I don't know." And I glanced, something caught my eye, so I glanced over, and there was this black shadow-looking figure coming out of one of the cages, and it had red eyes. This thing come out of that. I got chills thinking about that.
Yeah, you give me chills.
Come out of that cage, the middle cage. It come out of it, and it started moving across to the end of the room. When it got to the end of the room, we went upstairs, and the dog beat us. Dog went up first. And I went up, and he came up behind us, and right as he reached back to close the door, he jumped back, and he started walking backwards. I was like, "What's wrong with you?" This thing come out of the door, and it moved. It come out right along the wall, right in front. It stopped right dead in front of us on the wall. Then it started coming up on the ceiling. I said, "I got to go home."
Yeah.
I'll talk to you in a while. So I left. I said, I'm done.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not playing with that. That's evil. Like how you could feel it. I mean, you almost feel like you're getting sick when you're looking at it. You could almost feel all the color pull out of your skin, and it was cold, and all the hair was jumping back your arm, on your neck. It was nasty.
So obviously your buddy saw it too?
Oh yeah. And the dog was scared to death of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure I lived in a haunted house myself, and I had Rot too, and she used to react all the time when something was going on. She'd always be reacting to it and notice it. She noticed it before I did. So
they usually do. They have a better sense than we do.
Yeah. So
sure.
did it have any type of shape besides just a black mass, or
it was kind of, I guess human shape. I guess is close. It wasn't defined human shape, but
Yeah,
it had a head. It had shoulders, arms, and then it looked like a just nothing after that. It was just kind of
I
blah,
got you. I got
you
you.
know. But it was, I mean, the way it moved, and it had, like I said, it had red eyes. It was just, it hurt you to your soul almost.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh wow,
There's a
uh,
lot of bad things happening in that house. I'm afraid.
it's kind. I would say so. If they got cages down in their basement and shadow monsters coming out of the walls.
Yeah, I didn't stay over our butts. I didn't go hardly ever.
I
I
don't
said, "Nope,
blame
I
you.
ain't going to."
Yeah, I mean a
No,
ghost is one thing, but a demon is another.
you ain't kidding.
Yeah.
We had a we had a really cool thing happen to us. It actually involved ghost dogs.
Oh,
We
okay.
went up. There's a place here called the Governor's Mansion up on the Bowcatcher Mountain over here, and I mean, you're not supposed to go up there.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
kids.
yeah.
We were kids back in, and we drove up there and we hopped over the gate, and we were up there close to the mansion. And when my friends walked over and he touched the doorknob and it burned him, he screamed. He had burn marks on his fingers. I was like, dude, this is the middle of winter. There's nothing here. He's like, I'm telling you, that thing burnt my fingers. I walked up there and it was cool as it could be. I was like, damn, there ain't nothing wrong with this. He showed me his fingers. He had burn marks on his fingers where he touched the doorknob.
Oh, wow.
I thought, well, that's kind of weird. I think maybe we need to leave. We started to leave and we heard dogs coming. I mean, they were tearing the ground up. They were just, you hear big dogs.
Yeah.
And we looked back where the dogs were supposed to be, and there were no dogs, but the leaves were being kicked up like the dog was running at us. So we
Holy
took
cow.
off like, we're kids. We took off.
So you was
We're
kicking
gone.
up leaves next.
I was kicking a lot of leaves up.
I don't blame you.
But
Man, oh
we
man.
had that. And of course, we had Dylan's with Helen's Bridge and all that up here, but that's well-known ghost story here. And I've just had all kinds of weird things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
some people, seems like some people get it or have it happen to them. Maybe they have a more open mind, or I don't know. Maybe something happened to you when you went to the beyond and came back. So besides your grandma, did the grandma on the bed happen before you? So did it happen often before this?
No.
No? It was just your grandma and then ramped up after the hospital.
Oh yeah, after my grandmother passed, that's when we had the stuff at the bridge up there happen. We had stuff at the mansion up there happen. It was all kinds of things happened. Then when I was in my 20s is when I passed away for a short period of time.
Oh, wow. Wow. All right. So, switch gears. I want to hear about some Bigfoot. So,
Well, I've seen 4 so far. So which ones you want to hear about?
all of them. Start with your start with your least favorite and save your favorite for last.
I don't really have a least favorite. I guess the last little ones we've seen.
Okay, so you've
Was
seen
probably,
some little ones.
yeah, I've seen 2 little ones. I've seen one 7 foot tall and one 8.5 foot tall.
That's not little.
No, he was not little, but I'll tell you what happened in a few minutes. We were out doing we was out doing some research and investigation in this area that we knew was a hot spot.
Yeah.
And we were coming to, there's a road, it's an old logged road. And it comes out and goes out into a curve and then back into the mountain and then runs the mountain back around this way.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're on this side, you can actually see the curve looking back at you. I'll start with that one. That's where the story starts.
Okay.
And we get out of the truck and something lands. Bam! It's beside us. What is that? We didn't know what it was. We really didn't think a whole lot about it. But there was no acorns on the trees. Nothing. I know it wasn't an acorn falling out of a tree. But something hit beside us when we got out of the truck. So we kind of blew it off and started up that trail, and it was like this.
Yeah.
Started up that Ogden Road. We come around that corner, and we went back on the inside, and we started finding we found a muddy spot where the water had come down, and we found a footprint. I think it was 18 inches long, and it was about 9 inches wide. And then we seen a line, probably, I don't know, 15 feet maybe, of 6-inch tracks that were 2.5 inches wide. Unfortunately, we couldn't pour in them because the way it was at, there was no way to get a decent casting.
Yeah.
I loved to get a casting. But we looked at those and we checked them out. We measured them, we videotaped them and everything else. And as we come around the corner of where it goes against the mountain and comes back out on the side of the mountain where it goes around, we come back out, something got my attention. I looked back, and in that curve, something leaning out of the tree like this, watching us. I looked at it, and I tapped the other guys. I said, "We're being watched." My buddies, we're all Bigfoot hunters, so he's like, "Oh, wow."
Yeah.
And it's leaning out. All you can see is from like this part of its body leaning out
Mm-hmm.
on a tree. You see that no neck. It's just, the shoulders come up to the side of the head, the conical head. And we couldn't tell we couldn't see its face or really any colors, but we could see something up by the tree. We just kind of blew it off and went on. We come around the curve going back up the mountain. We get up to almost to the top of one of the ridges. And all of a sudden, this rock comes whizzing by my head 18 inches away. Bam! Hits the limb behind me. The limb breaks the limb.
Ooh.
It had to be that big around. A little bit bigger than a golf ball.
Gotcha.
Maybe a little less than a baseball.
Maybe like the size of a lemon or something.
Yeah. So, and it did that. It surprised me. So I took off up the hill to find out what threw a rock at me. I took off. And I got up there, and I heard branches and everything, brushing, breaking, and everything going down the hill. But he had 2 escape routes. Because as I come up, he could either drop off the backside and disappear, or he could drop off the end and disappear, and I never would have seen him. So, whatever it was, I'm assuming it's a Bigfoot, because nobody else going to walk up there for any other reason.
Nobody else going to throw a rock at you. I wouldn't think.
Not with that much, not from that far away with that much strength.
Yeah, and accuracy, because I've heard that they're pretty damn accurate. If they want to hit you, I think they're going to hit you.
Well, we had 5 rocks thrown at us that day total.
Wow.
So we come up and we stayed on that long run. We come across, and we were looking up another ridge, all the way up a ridge. It was pretty good distance to the top, but the sun was coming right down the center of it, down towards us. And all of a sudden, all the robins started flying down towards us. And robins don't do that in the wild.
Yeah.
They usually fly away from people.
Mm-hmm.
They were all flying towards us. We got to looking, and this about 3-foot size figure covered with fur or hair runs across and drops. I was like, "Did you see that?" And they all seen it. And I moved. When I moved, it went back the other way.
And you say it was about 3 foot tall?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was probably 100 feet away from us.
And on 2 legs, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. It was on 2 legs.
Okay.
It was scooting.
Yeah.
You could see the arms.
Pumping.
Because it was, like I said, it was scooting.
Yeah.
And we didn't see it anymore because it dropped down, and there was some brush on the left-hand side up there. We went behind that brush, and we didn't see it anymore. So we come down the mountain, got back down to the bottom. We got that curve where we'd seen that figure leaning over, and there was 2 footprints there that wasn't there when we come up. And it wasn't ours because it was, one of them was, the one we could actually measure was 17 inches long and about, I think it was 8.5 inches wide.
Oh, wow. That's a big boy. Or girl, but I'd imagine it's probably a boy with foot that big. You don't hear them, that big too often. I mean, they get bigger, I know, but most of them generally seem to be about 15 or so. Once you get up to like 17, 18, that's...
Oh, we found a 24 once before.
Holy moly.
That was a big one. He had broke a tree It was so funny. There's a big pine tree. It was probably, I'd say, either 18 or 20 inches thick, and where it should have been laying like this,
Yeah.
because here was the stump, because they fall from the stump.
Yeah.
Well, this one was moved over to here,
Oh, wow.
facing this way,
Yeah.
and the stump was over here.
Huh.
There's no way possible for it to fail that way.
I see what you're saying. So it's by the stump, but not where it's supposed to be. It's off to the side. Like something went
And
snap and pitched it over here.
I think he was mad because where we were at, they'd been putting gravel up in that area. I think it pissed him off.
Probably, because you hear that a lot, man. Them road construction crews and stuff, and a lot of these. Well, what was it, Jerry Crew? When he took the first cast, that's what they were doing. They were, heavy equipment out doing stuff, and the Bigfoot didn't like it, and they're coming in,
Yep.
So makes sense.
But yeah, and when the other little one we seen, we were in another one of our research areas, a different research area, and we got up there and we'd had action all day. They'd been yelling at us. They'd been throwing rocks at us. We found one nesting area. It was a smaller nesting area, like it was just about starting it. And we actually, when we look back at our footage on that day of that section out there was actually one standing down below us at the creek watching us. We had no idea he was there. We just happened to catch him on the camera. He's a big old boy too. And we moved on up after some rocks had been thrown at us. We moved on up. We found a place we nicknamed the playground, because what they had done is they had put logs up. They had a log in the center. It was split. Two different logs that had grown up.
Mm-hmm.
And they laid one this way and they laid one this way. And the stumps for those that were laying this way and this way were way away from them. We're talking 30, 40 feet away.
Yeah.
And those were big, huge trees. And the ground had been all tore up like some kids had been playing there. And we were sitting there talking, and something once again moved in my peripheral vision. I turned my head about 30 feet away from me. There's a little 3.5 foot hair covered bipedal little feller booking it up the hill. He got up probably 20 feet, 15, 20 feet, and they dropped behind some brush. And when he did that, one of my other guys were down there, Harley, he was down the bottom, and another one come down the hill past him. It was a different color.
Oh, so what colors were they?
Well, the one I was watching was kind of a dirty, darkish brown, and the one that he seen was a lighter brownish red.
Okay.
His was probably around 4 foot when he seen.
Yeah, the seems red seems to be a pretty common, in them. So have you been able to get like a good look at any of their faces?
No,
at any point? No.
That's one thing I wished I could. I hadn't got to see. I get too excited. So
yeah, well, I understand.
I'm not smart enough to run away. I run towards them.
Yeah.
I'm not real fast. But we went up the hill after that little one disappeared. We took off up the hill. We found a huge bedding area. Well, they'd packed all these pine. They'd interwove the pine like this on the ground, made a bedding out of it.
Like pine branches?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Stunk. Oh man, it stunk. And one of our people moved over to the edge, and all of a sudden, son, we got a growl. You could feel it hit you.
Yeah.
So I pulled everybody out. I said, okay, we got to go. If that's Mama, she's going to be pissed. So we're leaving.
Yeah.
So I pulled all my other researchers out, and we went on back down to the bottom of the hill. And so I left them a ball as a gift on a rock. Of course, when we went back, the ball was gone. But the best one was my very first one I ever seen.
All right.
We were East Tennessee, and he was massive. But we went. We'd already had a lot of sign, a lot of stuff going on that day, and found a dogman print.
Dogman print.
It was huge. and we wasn't maybe 15 minutes behind him because he was
Oh.
booging. And we got down to one spot where he had hit and it slid, his foot slid. You could see, I mean, it was fresh enough, but the water was still coming back into the mud.
Oh, Christ.
So we was down there looking around for him because I got curious, like, ooh, it's a dog man. So I'm looking over for him. And we come back up and we got this one spot on the hill, and old Harley punches me, my buddy Harley Owens. He punches me. He said, hey, let's go down this flat and we'll follow that flat over. There's a hill over. We'll go up that flat, up that hill on the other side of those laurel bushes. It's okay. Me and him took off down this way, and we sent my buddy Robert Effler and his wife down the trail. They started going down this. It's a logging road too. They went down this logging road, and where we hit that flat, we found some bear sign down there and everything. And we come up the hill. There was another hill directly in front of us. There's some big old pine trees there. And Hardy stops. I was like, what are you doing? He said, there's a Bigfoot. I said, Hardy, that's a shadow. He said, no, man, I'm telling you. He said, that's a Bigfoot. I said, Hardy, it's a shadow. It's overcast. It's been snowing off. It's just a shadow. He said, wait right here and keep your eyes on it. So what are you going to do? He said, I'm going to get closer and see if we get a reaction. I'm like, okay, no problem. So I'm standing there, and he starts down that little hill. He gets down probably, you got to remember, I'm looking straight at this thing. I'm 20, 30 yards away. I mean, nothing's blocking my view. And he steps on a stick. That thing goes kapow like a shotgun. Well, the shadow I'm watching reaches up and grabs the tree, and he stretches over to see where Harley is. And I'm like, ooh. And he hears me, and he looks, and he stands straight up. And I seen where his head was because I was excited by then. And he was massive. He was 4 foot across the shoulders. He was thick. He looked like a barrel with arms. And the arms were huge. And I didn't even look at his eyes. I got so excited, I took off down the hill towards him.
Oh, wow.
I wanted to get closer. So I took off to go get closer, look at him. Of course, he didn't wait on me.
Yeah.
I passed Harley, and we come up the hill, and where he was at, the limb where his head was at, we put the tape measure up there. He was over 8.5 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
And he had 3 perfect toe prints in the dirt. You could see where the little toe was, but it wasn't very good. And the big toe, you couldn't see very good. You could see where it was, but you couldn't see. But those 3 middle toes were just perfect.
Wow.
So we take off. We want to get closer to him. So we take off, and he had the perfect spot. Where he was at, there was like a tunnel of laurels. And when you get down to the end of that hill, you could either drop off to the left side or the right side. So I'm thinking he dropped off to the left side because it was clearer. Once you got those laurels, it was wide open. You could go where you wanted to. So we get down this, we go down this little tunnel. We get down to the end of it. And Robert calls us up. What in the world are you boys doing? Something's tearing the woods up down here. And what happened is that Bigfoot, when he dropped off, he scared up a bunch of crows. And he was tearing those bushes up, and the crows scared off, so he stopped dead as soon as those crows took off because they flew right over Robert's head.
Oh.
And Robert, I think it may have seen Robert too. That's probably why it stopped.
Yeah.
So when we dropped off the left side, we hit that laurel thicket, and we don't get to go through as good as he does. And I'm thinking the whole time, because we can't see no more than 3 feet, I'm thinking we're going to die.
Yeah.
He gonna kill us right here. But we get out of the laurel thicket, and we get down there where Robert was. And what happened was we come down. The Bigfoot. That's the only thing we can figure he did. He eased back out of that open spot, back in behind that hill where we just come. So we get down off the hill. I'm vibrating. I'm just excited, so excited. And we're talking and find out all this, and we can hear they're moving. We know there's more than one. And we hear all this commotion and stuff. And I think the dog man had come back around too because Harley thought he seen the dog man. And we got back out, and that was that whole sight right there. And it was awesome. To see my first one that clearly in the daytime
Yeah.
was the incredible. We only hunt during the daytime because what way we figured this out in the areas we go to, since they're not migrating Bigfoot. These Bigfoot living in these areas.
Okay.
They're families.
Yeah.
So they don't worry about, the only time they go out at night, they do a lot of hunting at night. But they move around and build stuff and all that during the day. We found one area in East Tennessee where it looked like they had run the deer down a path. They had a path fixed up and they had marked it with sticks and twist brakes. And it looked like the deer had come down this path, and when it got so far, it cut like this. So the path cut. I think what happened was they was running. When we get down to the end of that path, as they run by, he'd just grab them, snap her neck on the side.
Yeah.
Oh, we have found some incredible hunting blinds that they'd made. They had one that the Bigfoot's a genius because I got into it and I could put my arms out and not touch the sides. I'm 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
I couldn't reach the top of it. I couldn't reach the sides of it, being inside of it. But they had placed the logs like this all the way around a half circle. And there was a trail coming this way, a trail coming this way, and a trail coming this way. They had 3 game trails met in that spot.
Got you.
So they can sit there at night, and as a deer or bear or hogs come through, they just reach out there and kill them.
Bam. That's the way to do it.
Well, we was in one of our hunting spots we had filmed. We were up there filming, and we didn't even notice it, but we put the film online. And somebody contacted us saying, "You guys really need to look at this film." And we got to looking at it, and a dog man was in the background. And he had cut from one tree to the other tree. And he was within 10 foot behind me.
Oh, man. No,
I
thanks.
never knew he was there.
Oh, no thanks.
He was right at, from what we figure, he was right around 7.5 feet tall.
So, okay, so do you think there's any chance, okay, your first Bigfoot encounter that you were telling me about,
yeah,
do you think there's any chance that was a dog man?
No, the Bigfoot, the Bigfoot we've seen was clear. I mean, were just, they didn't have the sharp ears. They had the normal little teeny tiny ears Bigfoot has. They had the conical head, the big shoulders. Now, the dog man is so distinctive when you look at him because most of the time he has them sharp ears.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Now, we've seen some that didn't look that way.
Yeah.
Well, we've got Harley's real good at getting pictures of things. I don't take as much pictures as he does. But Harley Owens, he has a tendency to get pictures better than any of us because he's always taking pictures. He always has a camera looking behind him. I just started that. I just started the camera looking behind me.
Yeah.
But they zapped mine last time. I had a full charge camera, had it on a shoulder mount looking behind me, and I didn't get 20 feet and it killed it.
Last week I had an interview and same thing. So the guy did the same thing. Well, I don't understand what the battery drainage is, and I've actually had it happen to me when I was out with somebody, and he had a whole pack full of batteries, and they're all dead.
Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't. Harley's got some good pictures because Harley will do it. He'll do like he's talking to the camera selfie.
Yeah,
and he'll get what's behind him. Now he's got some really good dogman pictures and Bigfoot pictures.
So.
Now, Tim's got one that's the most awesome picture ever. You can see the entire head and the eyes, but there's a leaf right here. And I guess he figured he can't be seen because there's a leaf running right across its forehead. But you can see the top of his head. You can see his eyes. You can see the bridge. What cracks me up is the Bigfoot has a bridge like we do.
Yeah.
On their nose.
Huh.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think we're the only primates that has that.
Yeah, well, you're probably right. I think you are right. So so you've witnessed, and I've heard stories about how dogmen and Bigfoot sometimes like get along. Do you think they were like part of each other's buddy system there?
I think they are in our research areas. I really do. I think they're working together. It almost seemed like at one time, like the Bigfoot was using it for a nanny for his babies.
Really?
That's what it seemed like.
Yeah.
I don't really know, but that it just had that weird feeling because that's where we found the first little ones, first areas that we could thought there's little ones in there because it looked like the ground had been played in. There was no hogs in that area.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen hogs turn up ground and stuff like that. I've hunted all my life,
Yeah.
and but I don't know. It
I
just seems
think
like they did.
I guess Bigfoot's way tougher than I gave him credit for, because if I'm going to take a dog man and make it my nanny, holy cow.
Oh, that Bigfoot's the baddest boy on the block.
I can believe that. I can believe that.
Everybody says they think the dog man can give him a run, but I don't think the dog.
I think
man
the dog
can.
man's just scarier. I don't think.
Well, they're more vicious. I mean,
yeah.
I've got people send us encounters and stuff with them, and they're just mean.
Yeah, I've not heard a good dog man story, but I've heard good Bigfoot stories.
You hear more good Bigfoot than you do bad Bigfoot stories. I mean, every
100%.
now and then, Bigfoot's got it's got its own personality, its own everything. So, you know, you make it mad, it's going to whoop up on you.
Yeah, and then sometimes I don't think they're necessarily trying to be big and bad and mean. I think people just get scared because, you know, that's what happened to me. I don't know. Obviously, if it wanted to kill me, I'd be dead, you know, but I was just scared. So that makes it sound like a mean encounter when maybe in reality it wasn't trying to be mean, you know? So that makes sense.
I haven't got bluff charged yet, so I'm kind of cocky till I get bluff charged.
Yeah. No, I've heard about, I don't know what I'd do if I got bluff charged. I'd just die of a heart attack.
My other teammates have been bluff charged.
Yeah.
I haven't been yet.
Oof.
So I'm still waiting for that to happen.
Oof. I don't think I'd wish it.
I'll probably be talking to him. What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I just did an interview with Tom Cantrell, and he said he talks to him when he sees him. He just talks to him.
Too.
Yeah,
we do too. As soon as we hit the woods, if we know that we're being watched or followed or paralleled, we'll talk to them the whole time.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
To me, it's it just seems natural to talk to them. It's their woods. We're just visiting.
Yeah.
You know,
and obvious.
I
go ahead.
It.
Sorry.
No, that's it. I'm just I love it.
So, I do too. I could talk about this stuff constantly. So, and something I had in my head, you talked about the dog man print. About how big was it?
It was probably 6 inches wide, something like that. I mean, that's pretty good size for a dog.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And be honest with you, we've looked at so many, I can't keep everything straight.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It comes with age.
So yeah, I got that problem coming too. It's all right. So have you ever, and I bring this up a lot too, there's two things I like to ask people about. First one is orbs. Have you ever experienced orbs in these areas?
Not with my Bigfoot. I've experienced them when I was at like Helen's Bridge with the ghost stuff.
Okay.
I've never experienced any. Now, a couple of guys say they've seen them, but I personally have not. No.
Okay. All right. Nothing wrong with that. I've seen one, but I don't know, I don't know what it was. So I try to get like a feeling about like where you're at and where you see, because I'm going to be honest with you, most people that I talk to have seen the orbs and the Bigfoots in the same area.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard that several times.
Yeah, and that's where I saw mine too. It was in the same area. So it's kind of like my own personal journey. I'm trying to figure this out, and I think you're like and I think you're the first person that said, "Nope, I haven't seen an orb out there." So that makes you unique.
I'm something. I just don't know what. I haven't seen them yet. I'm not saying that they're not there. I'm not saying anything like that by any means.
Yeah. No,
there's no experts in this field.
No, hell no. Nobody knows for real.
I actually brought up a weirdly strange idea about that.
Okay.
And I don't know. Since I believe in Bigfoot, I have to believe in fairies because fairies has been around longer than Bigfoot has.
Tom Cantrell's talking about fairies too. This is great.
I've always felt that maybe that's what people are seeing as a fairy, and it's actually watching out for the Bigfoot.
That could
It's
be.
keeping, they may work together the same as any other creatures would.
Huh.
Deer and all that use the birds. The birds make a noise. The deer pays attention what the birds are squawking
Or like
about.
squirrels when
Yeah,
they bark.
squirrels. Yeah. So I mean, it could be the same kind of semiotic relationship. I don't know.
That's interesting.
I think strange. So you got to.
No, I like it. I'm digging the hell out of it. That's not a bad theory. I mean, for real.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some pretty convincing pictures of fairies, and I've not personally seen one, but and then I've heard people talk about them, and I have no reason not to believe them.
Well, I tell you what, all the research I've been doing, I researched Bigfoot ever since, what is it? The Fountain Monster come out? Legend of Boggy Creek.
Yep.
I've been reading every book I could find back when I was young, all about Bigfoot. They were hard to find back in those days.
Yeah.
I found everything I could have read about it. I've watched every kind of videos I could all the way up till I started becoming a regular field researcher. And now, of course, I've wrote all my books. It talks about all these different legends and the myths and monsters and all that. And I think it's opened a whole new world for me because there's not many stuff I don't believe in anymore with all the experiences I've had.
Yeah.
I can't say, well, there's Bigfoot, but there's no fairies or there's no little people or something like that.
No Wendigo, no skinwalkers.
Right. And everything's possible. I think most people, we live in this little world, and that's where we're focused at. That's all we ever think about.
Yeah.
So we don't believe there's anything outside that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, with the research I've done and all these books I've been writing, especially with the stuff where the Cherokee or the Indian tribes are involved, because they got a lot more proof than we do, and they don't like to share.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. I mean, it's their culture. I don't begrudge them at all. And they've got some interesting stories. They really do.
Yeah.
And,
I think they have a lot of credibility behind them with everything they say. So I always take any Indian encounter, story, legend, I take with a little more weight. I give it a little more weight.
Well, that's why I said the big thing about me with the Dogman. I was kind of skeptical about the Michigan Dogman and the Bray Road. I started researching it. The Dogman's been around since at least 400 BC.
Wow.
And they believe that Anubis was actually a dogman that come out of a tribe in Africa.
Huh.
Because there were tribes of dogmen around the world.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And that tribe was said to have been wiped out with disease after Anubis had left it and went to Egypt. And then Marco Polo and Christopher Columbus both talked about the Dogman tribe over in India, which was 120,000 strong.
Whew.
And they favored using spears and bows more than anything else. And they communicated by barking back and forth and yapping at each other. And they were actually when other tribes would go to war or other countries would go to war, they would actually recruit out of that tribe for mercenaries to go fight for them.
Wow.
And even St. Christopher was believed to have been a dogman.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
All the early drawings of him was all showed him being 7 foot tall with
the dog's head. Yep. I think I just saw one of them on Facebook yesterday and reposted it. That stuff. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely love Bigfoot, but man, Dogman's coming up a very close second, quick.
Oh, since we've seen that print, I've just been nuts over it.
Yeah,
but I like it all. Bigfoot will always be my favorite because he was the first one I ever started researching.
Yeah. Same here.
But everybody, I want to learn about all of it. I want to learn about the lizard people. I want to learn about. I mean, we know, those. There's so many accounts of those over towards Dulce. coming out of that mountain over there. And I just found out the other day. I mean, I knew that we had tunnel equipment, but I didn't know secretly we have had tunnel equipment that actually melts the rock and forms the tunnel
Oh, wow.
out of the melted rock as it drills through. I didn't know we had anything like that.
I never heard about it till just now.
We've had it since the 50s.
That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, they don't tell us anything.
I mean, I have learned so much since I started all this research and all this stuff. And what's so funny, you'll read about it over here, it'll just be a little mention. You know, it sticks in your head. And you're like, well,
Yeah.
So I start looking things up that was that little pinch in my head. So I'll start looking things up. All of a sudden it'll go blow up, and you're getting all these articles. You're finding all this information. And you got to watch what you're looking at when you're doing the research, because there's a lot of stuff in there that people just make up.
Yeah, I got busted on a post like that not long ago.
I still do.
The doctor's name spelled backwards was baloney. Damn it! Somebody pointed that out, and I'm like, ah.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, I know. I just like, okay, like.
I love it all, though.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. Yeah. So, and I got one more thing before I let you go. What are your thoughts on portals? That's another thing that's been coming up a lot lately. Oh,
well, what's funny is we just had a discussion about this because I just found out. You know, we're getting into the AI big time now. Mm-hmm. And the quantum computer just answered a question that was supposed to be unanswerable.
Yeah.
They said if they loaded that question into a supercomputer, it would have took it 10,000 years to come up with the answer.
Yeah.
They put it in the quantum computer and it did it in 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Now this made everything. It was all over the science stuff. I get a lot of science information sent to me. And the new thing that Trump and them are doing, it's called Stargate.
Yes, I've heard of that.
And they just released some information from the Pentagon not too long ago that they believed that those things that were sent over Jersey was interdimensional.
Okay.
Well, Stargate and kind of makes it think that they're going to use the AI to open up portals. We've been opening portals, I found out the other day, for years. They found out how to open them up, and they've actually sent things through them, but never got any return. And then when they did that supercomputer, they were actually able to open a portal and put this molecule in two places at one time, the same molecule.
In two different places?
Yeah.
Huh.
And and I also found out that NASA did a study, and they released the findings that said that there is a number of like 100 portals open a day around the world every day.
Wow.
So I'm like, I did not know this, because I read all this science stuff all the time, constantly. I just now finding this stuff out myself. But I looked it up. I thought, that's bull crap. So I looked up on NASA about NASA, and that's what they said.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, well, all right then. So yeah, I believe there's portals. I still have a hard time myself believing that Bigfoot comes to them.
Okay.
And I still have a hard time believing Dogman comes to them.
Yeah.
But I'm beginning to think either we don't know nothing. They are coming to them.
Yeah. So. See, that's one of the things that I'm not sure which way to go on it, because I've heard people tell the stories. They sound credible, but I just don't know. But then again, I'm not going to be the one to call him a liar.
No. I've never do that.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't saying you were, but I'm just saying I'm bouncing on it. So that's why I like to ask people. I want to see where you stand on this.
I got to see it.
Yeah.
If I see it, I'll believe it with no doubt. And I've talked to some really credible people that has said that they have seen the portals. Scott Carpenter said he had seen a portal.
Yeah.
And Scott was about as credible as anybody could be.
Yeah.
Because he got some incredible footage. But until I see it, I'm not going to believe it.
I got you.
I'm hard-headed that way.
Well, maybe you ought to be from Missouri. Hey, Show me.
I'm just an old hillbilly, so you know.
Nothing wrong with that. Me too.
I'm an Appalachian hillbilly.
There
so.
you go. Well, I'm an Ozark hillbilly, so
There you
nice
go.
to meet you,
That's why we
hillbilly.
get along. I see it already.
Well, George, it's been fun as hell talking to you tonight. It's been so much
appreciate it.
fun. So, and me and my buddy Dirty want to say thank you for coming on.
Can I promote two things real quick?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I almost forgot that part. Yes.
Okay.
What you got to promote?
I got to promote our TV channel, which is Channel 12 TV Network.
Okay.
We are on Roku. We are on Apple TV. We're on Fire Stick. We're on Google TV.
Channel 12 TV Network?
Channel 12 TV Network.
All right.
And we have apps on Android and Apple.
Okay. Are that you get them at the Play Store or the Apple Store? Or?
Yep.
Okay.
You go there and download our app. We go by subscription. I mean by we call it subscribers.
Subscribers.
So
okay.
It's $10 a month.
Okay. And what's the name of the app?
Same thing.
Oh,
Channel
okay.
12 TV Network.
Oh, okay.
And what we do, we put on content constantly. We put on our hunts. We put on our podcast. We put on. We got a called No BS Beer Drinking Podcast is on their channel. We have old movies on our channel. We have old TV series on our channel. We have a White Witch, Paranormal White Witch on our channel. We have Body Slamming Conversations with Rock and Randy Stewart. Used to be a wrestler.
Yeah.
Used to go by Ravish and Randy.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yep, that's my buddy.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he has a thing on. He talks about everything better, and nothing we have on ours cut. If we see it in the woods, and we get it on film, you're going to see it.
I got you. There's
cool. No editing. Everything is completely raw and unedited.
That is so cool. Yeah, that's so cool.
We got about 4 more shows coming to our channel. So if everybody wants to check that out, you got Channel 12 TV Network, and of course my books. I got to promote my books.
Oh yeah, no. Where do you get them at? In
Amazon.
Amazon and
yep.
What are the names?
Well, the newest one is called Legends, Myths, Monsters, and Ghosts, the North American edition. I give you stories from Canada, America, Mexico, Central America, and Greenland.
Oh, wow.
There's some really good stories there. There's one about a Wendigo at Fort Kent out of Canada.
I think I've heard that. I've heard that story. I think I've heard that one. That one as well. It's like the very first, one of the very first ones.
Yeah, one of the first Wendigo attacks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's great.
Man, I'm gonna have to check this book out.
And then, of course, I got my other books. I have Legends, Myths, Monsters, and Ghosts, the USA edition.
Mm-hmm.
It has stories from every state in the United States and 5 of the Indian tribes.
Oh, okay.
And it's got my theory of Bigfoot in there. That was before I knew a lot more than I know now.
Yeah.
I still stand behind it, but because it still makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But then I've got Monsters of the World. I wrote most of my book for podcasters because they're all short stories that are full of information about certain things. Now, the Monster of the World is nothing but cryptids. There's 104 cryptid creatures, and I cover every continent in the world. I actually have 26 encounters that were sent to me that's in the book.
That's cool.
So, yeah. And I'm starting a new one coming out. It'll be out by Christmas this year. It's going to be the European edition.
Oh, cool.
Now, you want to talk about some killer stories.
Oh,
I'm having a ball with it because I'm putting Vlad the Impaler, I'm putting Lady Bathory, I'm putting all kinds of monsters in there. I'm putting in Robin Hood, the story of Robin Hood, the story of King Arthur. I'm doing Ulysses or Odysseus.
Yeah.
Or Ulysses, we're going to call him. I've got some awesome stories in that book. This is my favorite one to write.
Yeah.
Because it's all old country stuff.
Man, yeah, that sounds really cool. And I got to ask you before you take off, and excuse me for my ignorance, but NCI Foundation or founder of NCI. NCI stands for
North Carolina Investigations.
All right.
We can go check out we'll go check out any cryptid
And that's the
creature.
videos and stuff you're talking
Yep.
about? That's you guys?
Yep.
Okay.
Every time I said Bigfoot hunts we go on, we film them, we put them on our station.
Cool.
We go on a ghost, we put it on our station. UFO, we put it on our station.
I'm gonna have to check it out. Now you got my interest piqued.
Well, we started something new. It's really cool. We started with our podcast because we film our podcast to put on our show.
Yeah.
And what we do is we started putting films and movies, and we'll discuss what we see. Like we did one about werewolves the other day. We did one about some government containers that are coming in that had cryptid creatures in them.
Ooh.
And we did a big discussion on it and everything else. We have some killer discussion.
All
Now,
right.
we have a tendency to jump in the rabbit hole every now and then,
That's okay.
most of the time, but
Yeah.
we have fun with it. And I do promise you one thing, you'll learn a little bit and you'll laugh your butt off.
Good deal. I kind of believe you. You seem like you're a really upbeat guy, and I like that.
I appreciate that.
So-
I try to be. We enjoy what we do.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
And I couldn't ask for a better group. I got to tell you, in my opinion, I got the best Bigfoot hunters in the market out there.
Perfect.
It's me, Robert Effler, Tim Deals, Harley Owens, and we sometimes take Robert's wife with us, Michelle, and sometimes we'll take Matt, Tim's son, with us. But son, when we go out there, we joke around, have a good time, but there's no playing when it comes. We start finding evidence. We start really researching it out. We record everything. We've had some fun times. We've got some good stuff on there.
Good deal. Good deal.
I hope everybody will come and check us out.
Well, you guys keep doing what you're doing, so that way, the next time we talk, we got more stuff to talk about. Well, I'm sure we got more now, but
Well, but anytime you want to talk, I'd be more than happy to.
all right, that sounds so good. Well, thank you, George. Been a pleasure from the bottom of my heart talking to you. I'm digging it. But for tonight, that's it. So everybody out there, keep
Keep it creepy.
Yeah, out in the woods where the shadows creep, I'm trying to find the legend that the people keep. Bigfoot's the name, got a story to tell. Footprints in the mud, can't you hear the bell? Whispers in the night, can you feel that chill? Bigfoot on the run, he's a legend, keep it real. Bigfoot, yeah, he's the talk of the town. Creeping through the trees, never wearing a frown. Legend of the forest, he's got a big stride. As the trap beats thump, you know he's got pride. Like I'm on a quest, searching for the homie, you know he's the best. Got my camera ready, heightened senses on blast. Snap a shot of Sasquatch, legend unsurpassed. Eyes in the dark, you can't catch what you can't see. King of the woods, living wild and free. Bigfoot, yeah, he's the talk of the town. Creeping through the trees, never wearing a frown. Legend of the forest, he's got a big stride. As the trap beats thump, you know he's got pride.